I was waiting. Oh, there it is. Ah, now I stomped all over it. I thought maybe that was the whole song.
You are so terrible.
Yeah.
You see? I almost started talking.
6. You did.
I didn't
turn your
my
mic on. So this is off to a great start, everybody. Hi, I'm Chantal Desjardins. This is Terry Kalakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker. How you doing?
What is up?
What is up? Today on the show, we're going to talk creative financing for your real estate. Get into what that means and how to go about buying things if you don't have the down payment, or you make a lot of money, but there's a whole bunch of reasons you need to get creative. And
Absolutely.
Terry will get in on it. If you have any questions, you can call us at 514-790-0800. You can text us at 514-800. You can follow us live on Facebook Live right now.
Absolutely. And if people haven't subscribed already, newsonthego.ca.
Yeah.
This is where all these wonderful shows live. People get to see all the craziness that happens behind the scenes.
They do.
And my uncensored version of myself during the breaks.
My favorite version of Terry.
Yay.
Yay. I talked to Terry earlier this week because I had a little issue where I was trying to get a hold of my mortgage.
No.
Do you want to tell the story?
So I get a call this week, right, from Chantal, and she's like, there's something up, and I'm like, what's going on? So she comes to me and she says, I've been calling Tangerine, and for some reason they don't have my mortgage.
On file.
Who's
taking my money out every month if it's not Tangerine?
So for originally when we had set up your mortgage, right, it was set up with ING, which eventually became Tangerine, and then when it ended up coming up for renewals a couple of years ago, we ended up switching lenders.
But this is the thing. I was so busy at that
yeah,
point.
right.
I
I'm
think
sure,
it happened.
I'm sure.
You know what I think must have happened? It must have just been like, oh, we're renegotiating. Here's this, sign this. Okay, Terry, you take care of it, because you take care of everything so
right,
well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why
I'm
I
sure
have you in my life. That I totally forgot. I switched banks, and so I called them and I said, I need this and this, and they're like, we don't have you on file. And I was like, well, obviously you do. Just look harder. And they're like, well, okay. How about this? Why don't you give me your social insurance number? And suddenly I thought it was maybe a telephone scam, and I was like, maybe. And he's the guy. So I was like, is this one of those telephone scams? And he's like, you called me. But it's fine now. I found it. I do have a mortgage.
I've told you, I really think that there's something maybe, maybe if Linda's listening, we can find out how many times you were actually dropped as a child.
Oh, yeah. It was funny. It was funny. Once we figured it out, it was funny.
Yeah. All right.
So
okay.
anyways, let's start with a little market update now that we got that out of the way.
I don't know. What's been new in the real estate world, Chantal? What's going on?
I'm glad you asked. Valerie Plante presented her municipal budget of $5.7 billion Thursday, which focuses on investing in the economy, environment, housing, and mobility.
What kind of an impact do you think that's going to have on...
Probably a big one. Real big. Real big impact. Loads of impact.
What, you think you could just put me on the spot? I'm going to put you on the spot now, too. For the people that are actually watching, they'll see that I actually just messed up my chair. But anyways, okay. So you're right. So Valerie Plante released her new budget, right? And again, as she did last year, she raised taxes. And, the kind of lie that our, municipal governments are kind of telling us was, well, we're not raising it past inflation and, it's okay. Well, no, it's not okay, because what people, for some bizarre reason, are not talking about, and I think this is going to hit home next year with a lot of people, is although they've raised the mill rate, right? So when you look at it, taxes, what's effectively happening is there's two parts to it. There's two components to the calculation. There's the mill rate, so how much the taxes are with respect to how much the value of your house is. And then there's the value of your house, right? Which is the other component. And as far as I'm concerned, the municipal government has been, and I would love, I've included her in all my LinkedIn posts. I've included her in my Instagram posts. I would love for her to come onto the show so that we can actually have this conversation, because there's the mill rate that's gone up, but next year, what's going to really hit homeowners really hard is the fact that the actual price of the house is going to be adjusted. If you look at your municipal tax bills, your municipal rates, the amount that your house has gone up, impacts the actual bill itself. People don't care whether it's above or below inflation. All they care about is the bottom line. And what is that? So although the mill rate might have not gone up past inflation, the fact that the actual values of the homes is going to go through the roof next year in 2019 is going to have a major impact on people's bottom lines. And
it would be interesting to have her on the show.
Yeah, no one's talking about it, and I'm trying to to figure out why kind of everyone is like
just overlooking it.
Yeah, it's like people. I'm saying this, and people are looking at me like I'm cracked. So we'll see next year in 2019 when the new assessments come out. We'll see what actually happens.
Now, what are these new rules that TD is implementing, making it tougher for consumers to qualify?
So before it was always kind of these. It's not only TD. It's a lot of the big banks have kind of like the media is calling it like a stealth move, right? That the banks have done. Effectively, when you apply for a line of credit, historically, what they would do is they would look at it, they would run you through a calculation and say, yes, you qualify, no, you don't qualify. Now what the banks are doing is they're actually assuming that you've maxed out that line of credit that they're giving you on your home. So let's say you get a $100,000 line of credit. What they're going to do is the calculation that they're going to use to determine whether or not you qualify for it is going to be as if you've maxed it out, whether or not you're going to max it out or not, which is going to impact a lot of people's buying power. And the thing that it's going to impact the most is the secondary real estate market. So in other words, country houses, secondary condos, down payments that parents are giving to younger members of the family, their children and stuff like that, because typically those lines of credits, that's what they're actually usually used for. So because people are not going to be able to qualify for those anymore, as they once were able to, now we're going to get into a situation where those markets are going to end up feeling a little bit of a pinch, if you will.
So with all these rule changes, it's harder today than it was, say, 5 years ago to get approved, right?
Every year that goes by, it becomes tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher. And I don't want to make this show sound like I'm kind of harping on the government and like pointing the finger and stuff like that. But sometimes I gotta look at the politics, and I gotta look at the lobbyists and say, like, what are you doing? Like, this makes no sense on one side. But when you actually really put it down and you think about it, it does make sense, because what the bank lobbyists are basically doing with the government is they're going in, they're getting the government to put in place all these rules. So it prevents the middle class from actually being able to go out and buy real estate, effectively forcing them to invest their money in very low interest, very underperforming investments, such as, GICs, bonds, so on and so forth. So by doing that, they're basically ramming money into their coffers. You got to kind of look at it. A mortgage is a lost leader for a bank at the end of the day.
Right.
So seeing as it's a lost leader, it only makes sense that they're doing stuff like this to kind of beefing up their bottom lines.
That is the voice of Terry Kalakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker, and overall just a really great guy. Call us 514-790-0800. Text us your questions at 514-800 when we come back. More creative financing for your real estate, including if you don't have enough income to buy your dream home, what options do you have? But first, here's a look at the roads. Here's Kira Yeager.
There's still a delay, and this delay has been going on throughout the weekend, as a matter of fact. So it is on 10 westbound. It looks like
for taxes. Tell him to go see China, where all the parts are being made. Yes, I don't understand.
Is that the text you just got?
But yes.
My text shut down for some reason. Let's open it back up. I think we should have like the Marav hour, like anytime.
I think so. Marav, why don't you come and show everyone your awesome hair?
Awesome.
So Marav and I, we were at a gala yesterday.
Tell us about it.
A gala.
Tell us about it.
It was very gay.
Gala.
See?
It was very happy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Very happy.
Yes, it was very nice. It was for the Lakeshore General Hospital.
That's right.
Okay.
Fundraiser.
Yeah.
They collected $460,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
was just from you guys.
Yeah, just from me and Terry.
Well, our portion was $450, so the rest of the room kind of had to make up the $10,000.
I see.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it was very
It
nice.
was actually really nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nicely organized, nice people.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy
Good
Sean
cause.
McMahon was the host,
Yeah.
I understand.
From
Sean
the
the
Beats.
Man McMahon.
Yeah.
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 Sean McMahon.
Are we allowed to mention his name?
Why?
I don't know.
You think he's like,
Competing station.
oh, right. Maybe we'll come up with a word that rhymes with it. So it's like Bon McFan from The Heat. No. No one will know.
Really not.
From the heat.
From The Heat.
Oh man, yeah. So,
Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, that was nice. And we went with some friends. Jamie Benizri was at our table as well with his beautiful wife Stephanie.
Nice.
We had a great time, I have to say.
Awesome. Late night.
Actually,
No, not so late.
what was really funny is, well, funny. It was funny and sad. So Stephanie's a doctor, and he's like, any moment someone's gonna come and call her because someone always passes out. Someone always has a heart attack at these events. And she's usually the only doctor in the room.
Wow,
So,
really?
But this was the Lakeshore General, so obviously
there's
she
lots
wasn't
of
the
them.
only doctor.
Yeah.
But
So Marav's like, she goes, I'm just gonna go out. So she goes outside for a second, comes back, and she's like, Stephanie, you need to go out there.
like somebody
No,
Just
and somebody passed out?
Yeah.
From what?
Usually it
hadn't
happens
eaten all day?
when people are around me.
They just faint.
Yeah.
They faint.
Yeah. It's Terry Calacos.
Oh my god, Terry Calacos.
No. She hadn't eaten all day and she drank alcohol, like one glass, and she passed out.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very bad. I know a few people that have
Kind of like your night last night, right, Chantal?
Yeah.
alcohol.
Oh,
Not always a good thing on an
Not
empty
always
stomach.
a good thing.
Definitely not on an empty stomach.
Definitely not on an empty stomach. There's our helpful tip.
I hear Terry's commercial. I don't know if you guys are back on now.
One way to find out. I don't think so. I think this is the fake one where they.
The fake one.
Fake seas.
Is that your headphones that are that loud?
Sure. Beautiful weather, though, eh?
What I would actually love to know is if anyone has any questions, and they can actually ask some questions online. And there was something else that I wanted to say, which just flew right out of my brain.
Tell me.
I'm actually on Mustard Monday with Jamie, FYI, for anyone that's watching.
Mustard Monday.
Mustard Monday, which is on, I think, where does he broadcast that? I think he broadcasts that on his profile.
Okay.
So if anyone hasn't gone into Jamie's profile, go into it on Facebook, follow him, and you'll see our interview.
Cool.
Where I talk about this generation and how we are actually not doing them any favors with the way that we are raising them.
Because what? We are, like, just in terms of finances or in terms of everything?
Everything. It's just...
You're just going on a parenting rant now?
Yeah, I totally went on a parenting rant the other day. And what was funny is Joanne Armstrong from Ubisoft, she was there, she's like, you can't say these things. And I'm like, I could totally say
You
these
can say
things.
them. You have kids.
Yeah. She's like, people are not going to like you. I was like, it's okay, people
Yes.
don't like me anyway.
People need to respect you. They don't need to like you. It's better to be respected than to be liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart words from a girl who doesn't know where her mortgage is.
That's right. I do now. It was so funny me on the phone with them. No, but really, like, just look harder. Like, maybe you're spelling my name wrong. Let me give you the file number again. No, I'm
Why
telling
would you
don't.
think it's with Tangerine, though?
That was who I was with up until 2016.
You don't know that because originally you were with ING.
All my paperwork is with Tangerine. So I have paper filed with Tangerine. So look.
Well, hey guys, welcome back to the Real Estate Show here on CJAD. That's Terry Calacos, president of Northeast Mortgages, chartered mortgage broker. I'm Chantal Desjardins. Terry's breaking his headphones. Good start to the day.
See, I got my own because I broke the other one, so...
I know. Every time you bring your own headphones in, I think, I should be doing that. I'm for sure, like, getting an ear cold or whatever from the people before me, but I don't know if that works like that. Tell me about Mustard Monday.
Well, so Jamie I can't even pronounce his name now. I'm having... Jamie Benizri from Legal Logic, who's been on our show before,
Yes.
has an interesting little segment that he does at Dunn's in the West Island, which is called Mustard Mondays. And he interviews business people from the community, asks them kind of their opinion about a few things.
Mm-hmm.
So we are on this Monday. For those of you that don't follow Jamie, just go follow him on his Facebook profile. You'll see it pop up, and it's going to be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about creative financing for your real estate today. Let's say you want a dream home. We've picked the dream home.
Yep.
You don't have enough income to buy your dream home.
Yeah.
I guess that means you don't get the dream home.
Yes and no.
Oh, go on.
So,
you're saying
and the
there's
Oscar
a chance.
goes to Chantal. Okay, so the first thing that you have to realize is that first and foremost, I mean, people need to get pre-approved, right? That's one of the things that for some reason people kind of put their head in the sand. They have this preconceived notion that they're able to qualify for something that they're not able to qualify. And one of the common things that I get all the time is people will come in and they're like, I went to my bank and my bank refused me, but did you know they had me pre-approved already? And I look at them and I'm like, when? 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. When rates were rock bottom and there was no stress test? And they're like, oh, it makes a difference? Yeah, because nobody in the banking system, for whatever reason, takes the time to explain to someone how things work, right? So you find your dream house, you haven't gotten pre-approved. Now you go to your bank refuses you. You come to us, you think that we're going to work our magic. And, a lot of times people think that we're Houdinis. We're not Houdinis. We just might have some creative ways of kind of doing things.
Right.
Some stuff that your bank might have not thought of, and other stuff that your bank is not capable of doing. Something simple, like, you're a couple, you have a couple of young children using your allocation familiale, so the money that you get from the government. There is a ton of banks out there, and there's only 2 of them that actually will take allocation familiale. The majority of lenders won't. So you go to, a blue and gold bank, not mentioning who, and you walk in and you say to them, I want to apply for a mortgage. And they look at you and they say, you don't qualify. But you say, well, I have this. And they're like, well, no bank accepts allocation familiale. That is not true. There is banks that accept it. And that's when, and the rates are the same. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just different policies for different lenders. So then you come and you see us, and we're able to kind of find you those banks and get you closer to buying your house. But first and foremost, the thing that you need to be able to do is actually get pre-approved to know exactly what you're doing. I would tell people in some cases they need to lower what they're actually going after, lower their expectations a little bit, especially under the climate that we're in, which it becomes harder now because we're in a market where house prices are actually going up. I cut you off. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say lower your dreams, kids, because
I hate using that. But
for now,
I don't. For those that know me, they know that that's not me.
Totally.
Okay.
But if you're going to buy the house, it doesn't have to be the dream house yet. It can be.
It has to be. You have to put a plan in place. You could buy the dream house. You just need to have the plan.
Right.
And, like we said, it's a matter of maybe finding the bank that's going to take the allocation familiale, that's going to give you just that little bit of income that's going to set you over that little hump and get you qualified. Because for those that actually listen to our show long enough, they know that the 3 elements that are required when you're applying for a mortgage is income, equity, and credit. I had to think about that one for a second. Income, equity, and credit, right? So if your credit is terrible, there's not a lot you can do. But if the issues are coming from your equity and they're coming from your income, there is things that you can do. So on the income side, something as simple, like we said, adding the allocation familiale can make, go a long way.
Yep.
But it's a matter of finding the right lender that's going to do that. Excuse me. Getting a cosigner. Now, that's something that once upon a time, you were able to get a guarantor on your mortgage. Nowadays, you can't just simply get a guarantor. You can't just have someone come in like mommy or daddy and say, well,
I was just going to say mommy or daddy. That doesn't work anymore?
You can. However, it's a little bit more complicated than what it used to be once upon a time.
Why?
So once upon a time, they would come in, they would sign, and they'd be like, if they don't pay, I will.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that anymore. They'll come in, they'll sign. If they don't pay, I will. However, now they have to be on title with you.
Oh.
So because they have to be on title with you, it opens up a can of worms down the line. Tax issues, there's a whole slew of things. So that has to be set up properly. You can buy a property with revenues, right? My first place was a fourplex. Why? Because number one, I didn't have crazy amounts of income and I wanted someone to pay for me to live. So as a new homeowner, when I was 24 years old, I wanted to have that passive revenue coming in that was going to support my lifestyle. And it did. And thanks to that, I am where I am today. For some reason, this generation is not really interested in that. So that's one thing. You can look at paying off some of your debts. And this is where the planning comes in. So if you come in and you see me and you've got like a whole bunch of credit cards, you've got like car payments, you've got this, you've got that, let's look at how we can kind of restructure your debt load, because your debts play a huge role in whether or not you're going to actually qualify for something. Getting that car payment at $1,000 a month will impact your buying power.
We will have more with my friend Terry Kalakos, president of Northeast Mortgages, chartered mortgage broker, coming up very soon, talking creative financing for your real estate. Call us with your questions, 514-790-0800. Text us at 514-800. More on how to be creative and get your dream home after this.
The Real Estate Show is brought to you by Northeast Mortgages.
We're going to be back way later, right?
Yeah.
Are we live? Oh my God. We're going to be back way later, right?
Yeah.
Like 1:35?
Yep.
So you guys want to come and talk? I'm just going to step out.
It's like, where's he? What's he going? What's he doing with this? What's going on? Where are you going?
I'll be back.
Are you going to get some water?
No.
Probably going to the ladies'
Are you
room.
going to
I'm
the
going to
loo?
go to the ladies' room.
Are you going to the loo?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, weird.
Oh, Albert Ben Simon is really enjoying this show.
Hey, Albert!
I like Albert. Albert's a good guy.
He's got great cars. Go to Clairview today.
Yeah.
www. Just joking.
Summer Ave.
Yes,
Give us a little glimpse into your world. What's happening?
Well, I gotta wake up with this guy next to me every day,
You
guys.
lucky,
It's,
lucky lady. I mean, lucky man.
Most
Let's
of
be
the
real.
time. Most of the time, but I mean, like, you know.
I get
He's
it.
a
I get
handful.
it. He's a handful.
He's a
like,
handful.
he's-
It's like a fourth child.
Yeah.
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 So, you know, I take care of the 3 children,
Right.
and then I go and take care of my big baby.
Terror Bear. Do you ever call him Terror Bear? Is that a nickname you
Terry?
have?
No.
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 Terry McMary?
Terry the Fairy, maybe?
Terry the also not. No, I don't think I
No.
would go that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so, great guy.
Yeah.
Definitely a character.
Yeah.
Definitely. But it's lots of fun.
Yeah. What else do we have coming up? What do you have coming up? What's your week like? What's
Oh my goodness.
busy? You guys are very busy.
We've got
Came into
another
the office.
gala on
Yeah.
Tuesday evening, which is for commercial real estate. I've got my son's birthday, doing a little
That's
thing
nice.
at my
Which one?
house.
Which son?
The youngest.
Yeah.
Just turned 9.
Adorable.
Yeah. And that's it.
Okay.
You know, Saturday, maybe have some friends over.
Yeah.
Planning a little get-together beginning of December
Right.
at my house.
Do
Planning
you use
our
the hot
office-
tub all year? Or
Yeah.
Do you, okay.
Yeah, we use the hot
You
tub.
just keep it
as a
running
snow
super
tube.
hot all the time?
Yeah. It's
does
got a
that-
cover,
Yeah.
so the heat stays pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's a beachcomber, so it's very well insulated.
Ah, okay.
It's not like those.
So do you have to tip in through the like snow? Like
Yeah.
Okay. So you
That's
like
the fun part.
Is
You're
it
with
the
your
fun part?
robe and
okay.
yeah,
Okay. Good.
yeah.
Good.
It doesn't
Wondered
sound
about
fun, I know.
It doesn't. Yeah, you're not really selling it
No,
quite, but
no.
like I like the
Once you
being-
get in there, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Getting out actually feels good because it's so hot that you need to cool down. I know it feels like frigid, but it's not.
Right.
It's not.
Okay.
And in the summer, we actually jump right in the pool after.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's like that whole thing. You
Hot,
open
cold.
your pores in the hot thing, and you jump in
Open,
the
close.
cold to
Yeah.
close them in some sort of Scandinavian.
Yes.
They're
Finland.
Finlandish.
Finnish. Finnish, not
Oh, Finnish,
Finlandish.
not Finlandish. That's like that's just wrong. It's wrong, guys.
How was your weekend in Tremblant?
Well, it was fun. It was really fun. Went with a bunch of people. Surprised our friend. She had no idea what she was going for. So she
how
thought
many
it was
girls?
just like there were 3 girls, 4 guys. 4 girls, 3 guys, and she just brought her jacket. Like she thought we were just going for the day, and then her boyfriend ended up coming later with like her overnight bag, and we all like surprise, and we drove up. So it was really fun.
How old did she turn?
Very young, very young. Like I am officially. So she turned 30.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That was 12 years ago for me.
I mean, obviously, I'm still 30, so it doesn't matter. But, and Rob, you're 30, right? Or is it next year you're turning 30?
Yeah.
But to sing happy birthday to somebody who's turning 30, like...
Yeah, it makes you realize you're not 30. But you haven't hit 40 yet, so you're okay.
No.
Yeah. Once you hit 40, you're like, oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not young anymore.
Totally. I used to go from being the youngest in like my group of friends by far.
Yeah.
To wow, yeah, definitely the oldest one in the room.
And I find like if you're working in a corporate world, you really feel it because you see all the new coming in.
The new recruits.
Yeah, and you see like, oh, they're 25.
Yeah.
Like that's, you know,
They're
when
like,
they were born, I was. And that's all the secrets for
and
today.
that's all the secrets
Terry
for today.
Kalakos.
With Terry Kalakos. We have a call. We have
Whoa.
a call. We have Diana.
Oh my God, I almost fell.
Did he answer?
But David put her on
Okay, good.
ready to go.
And I think there's a text.
And a text, yeah.
But do you see your texting console?
Harold.
Harold.
Harold with 2
Harold
R's.
and Kumar.
Harold and Kumar.
Hold on. Could it be? Is he a real estate agent? Can he come and work with us?
I don't know.
I'm on a mission,
Go ahead.
Facebookers.
Yes.
To actually, I've told you this before.
Uh-huh.
I'm on like this crazy mission to find a Harold real estate broker
Why?
because I have a Kumar
That's so
mortgage
funny.
broker. So I wanted to like team them. Think about the marketing.
They could team up and be the Harold and Kumar
That's
team.
very funny.
The Harold and Kumar of Northeast.
Yeah. I like
so
it.
if you got somebody to refer, www.
Or if you don't mind changing your name to Harold.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
You know?
That kind of feels a little fakesy.
Yeah, but what if their name is Harry and they just go by Harold?
Oh, that's the fake one where they don't actually.
Fake.
Fakesies.
Yeah. Look, I'll give you back your seat.
No, it's okay.
No,
I'm sure people want to see you more than they want to see
No.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
Aw, thanks, Chantal.
You're welcome. Oh, we have a couple questions. Another one from Glenn with 2 N's. Harold with 2 R's, Glenn with 2 N's.
You are good at spelling, my dear.
We're getting paid by the letter here on the real estate show.
Oh, do you know and how much time we're going on? Because I'm gonna have to turn on the mic. That's okay.
What are you saying,
I don't
woman?
know.
Terry, do you have any words of wisdom? Some fun little nuggets?
So I had a stalker on Instagram.
No, really? This is juicy.
No, I was on LinkedIn.
Oh, LinkedIn.
Go
yeah.
on.
Yeah. So I have this woman, right? So I always like anyone that ever wants to reach out to me,
Yeah.
I will
engage,
no problem, right? Whatever, it's all good. So I have this girl. She reaches out to me on LinkedIn, which it starts off with hi, and it's like
That's
hi.
a good start. That's my pet peeve when people just write hi.
I know.
Like, ask a question or give me a statement, but like don't just I'm busy.
Yeah.
Like no hi.
Exactly. Anyway, she basically starts going on. She's telling me about how her father passed away and left her a whole bunch of real estate in the States. So I'm like, okay, it's real estate related. She has a question. We're having dinner, and she's like, she sends me like this really long message as to, how awesome she finds me.
Wow,
it's like,
fan mail, Terry fan
yeah, but hold on.
mail.
I actually got like nudies too with it.
Yes, I
This is pretty-
hope that's where this was going. And
Yeah.
you came through for me.
Yeah, and I'm
And
like,
the
oh,
best part-
look at this!
The best part, people, he's showing me this.
That's so.
Oh, look what I got!
You know what?
It's flattering, let me tell you.
I think that's also. I
great.
think it's a good sign
But
that
you know what's the difference? Us women, we get this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You get the honk
We
honk.
don't.
Yeah.
You get the whistles.
Us
and you get
guys don't.
the random highs
Yeah.
and all that.
Look, I'm
We never
middle-aged,
talk
bald,
about it.
and, not like in the best of shape. So when I get these things, I'm like, yeah,
And
all right.
I think it's good that you're comfortable
Doesn't
enough
matter
to
if they're
share it
gold
with
diggers.
Marav because I think that's important.
We share everything.
Honesty, transparency. Even
Yeah.
you're like, oh, we gotta go. So
Terry Kalakos.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. Terry Kalakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker. That's him. I'm Chantal Desjardins. Let's get to Diana right away because she's been waiting a little while. We're talking about creative financing for your real estate. Hi, Diana.
Hi, Diana.
Hi.
Huh?
Hi. Thanks both for having me.
Absolutely.
So I was just wondering. I've been self-employed now for let's say a little over half a year.
Okay.
And I was looking to buy a condo, and I've been running into some trouble with banks, not necessarily because of the income, but because of my status as self-employed and not having enough, let's say, history. At my job, correct me if I'm wrong, the bank that I went to said they needed a minimum of 2 years of history to make an accurate sort of like average of my income.
That's right.
So I was just wondering if you could sort of suggest any other alternatives in terms of what's available out there for self-employed individuals.
And Diana had mentioned off the air that she's a lawyer. So, I mean, she's got the money.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't have the experience of having those 2 years under her belt.
So there is a ton of options that are available to you. However, whether or not you like those options might not, they might not actually align. So obviously putting a much larger down payment would go a long way. Okay. So we do have programs that are available for self-employed people that haven't been self-employed for more than 2 years that are available, but you're looking at about 35% down payment, and they come with a much higher interest rate. So that's option number one. Option number two is you can wait the 2 years. Option number three, you can look at getting a co-signer on board with you. There is options. It's just a matter of making sure that you structure yourself properly. And unfortunately, where I find our banking system lacks is they're going to give you partial information. They're going to tell you, well, you need to be self-employed for a couple of years. So you're going to go about it, and you're going to go about it completely wrong. What your banker or your broker needs to do is they need to tell you exactly how much income you need to have over the next couple of years to be able to properly qualify. Because you said at the beginning it has nothing to do with income. It has all to do with income. 100%. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that you are able to declare the proper amounts moving forward. And this is not so that Revenue Quebec and Revenue Canada can kind of give me kudos, but unfortunately people they listen to the wrong accountants. They listen to their accountants in general, where accountants try and kind of like scrap and save every dollar in taxes, but they're going about it the wrong way. Instead of not declaring revenues, what you should be doing is declaring your revenues and putting money away, for example, into an RSP to offset those revenues so that you're not paying the taxes on them. And then you could still use the RSPs towards the purchase of your first home. So there's all kinds of little interesting strategies that we can use. By all means, I mean, call me at the office. We'll get together. We'll sit down and we'll crunch the numbers properly.
Yeah, I think that would be my next step, definitely.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you so much for your help.
With pleasure,
Diana. So we just got a couple texts coming in from Harold with 2 R's. Does it make a difference on your pre-approval amount if you buy a property with revenues like a duplex?
Yes, absolutely. So if you're buying a property that has revenues, the revenues of that property will be counted towards the calculations. Different banks will calculate things differently. The norm, 95% of banks, what they're going to do is they're going to take 50% of those revenues. They're going to divide them. Sorry, they're going to take 50% of the revenue. So you're making $1,000. They'll put it to $500, and then they'll add that to your gross annual income and then run that through the GDS TDS calculations. It doesn't have a huge impact after they're done, but it does help a little bit. Alternatively, we can look at lenders that don't run the property through those calculations, and we actually do what's called a rental worksheet, which basically we look at the rents that are coming in, we deduct all the expenses, and then at the end, if we have a positive number, then we add that to your income. If we have a negative number, we add it to your liabilities. So there's different ways of looking at it, but either way, it does help.
That is the voice of Terry Kalakos on the Real Estate Show. Glenn texted in, hello, I had a bankruptcy 2 years ago. If I have $80,000 to put down, could I get a mortgage? TD said, no, I'm looking to find a revenue property. Option 2 is my house. My house is in both names. I want to buy her out. I want to take over a mortgage myself. The bank says no. Do I have options?
Yes. But having, just kind of giving the number, I have 80,000 to put down. It's, if you have 80,000 on 100,000, you want to buy something at $100,000 and you've got $80,000 to put down, that means you have a mortgage of 20 grand. So I don't care if you went bankrupt yesterday, I'll get you a mortgage for
Yeah.
it. If you tell me that you're buying a property at $1 million and you have 80,000 to put down, that's 10%. That's less. That's
That
not
is less than 10%.
less than 10%.
Not 10%. Roughly 8%.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So you see, I went out too yesterday.
I
It wasn't
get it.
just
I
you.
get it. It's a rough day for all of us.
Yeah. So that's less than 10%. So no, that's not going to help. So it all comes down to what the loan to value is. Just because you went bankrupt a couple of years ago, it doesn't mean that you don't qualify for a mortgage. But again, are you willing to pay the price? And if you are willing to pay the price, then we have options for you. If you're not willing to pay the price, then it's a matter of structuring yourself properly so that in the future you're going to be able to qualify. And typically someone that has had a bankruptcy, as long as they've been discharged for 3 years and they've rebuilt their credit history for at least 2 years, you're good. You'll be able to qualify for a mortgage. As weird as that sounds, it's, the rules are there to allow people to go bankrupt and bounce back from it within 3 years after discharge.
Right.
But you need to make sure that your trustee has actually done what they were supposed to do to actually help you get back on your feet. And if the trustee hasn't done it properly, contact us and we have a program that we can actually put you on that will get you on your feet.
We're talking about creative financing for your real estate. What do you do if you don't have the enough income to buy your dream home? You do have other options. We mentioned get a co-signer, buy a property with revenues, go to a lender that accepts family allowances, pay off some of your debts. Any other options? Is that basically it? What about find a place with lower condo fees, things
Sure,
like that.
absolutely.
You have to get a bit creative, right?
Yeah. So, one of the big things, I've had people where they come in, I pre-approve them, right? I get them pre-approved for the mortgage, and then they go and they find a condo which has like astronomical condo fees or astronomical property and school taxes. Those things are all part of the equation, right? So if you're typically buying a house at 300,000, we're calculating and we're assuming that the property and school taxes are going to be 3,000. If you're buying something at 300,000 and your property and school taxes are 5,000, give me a call. Before you actually make an offer, say, wait a minute, let me just run these numbers by Terry. Or one of
Northeast Mortgages presents The Real Estate Show with Chantal Desjardins and Terry Kalakos, live online and on CJAD 800.
The Real Estate Show on CJD. Terry Kalakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker. I'm Chantal Desjardins, and people want to talk real estate. Today they are on fire, the texts, the calls. So let's start with Brian in Bay Durfee. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, I have a question. With today's rates, is it still viable to buy revenue property?
Absolutely. For sure it is. Mind you, it's going to depend on where you're buying, right? If you're buying to break even, well, as the rates are going up, you're going to end up being at a loss. However, if you're buying to make a profit, which I would hope that most people are doing when they're buying real estate, then yeah, absolutely it is. And don't forget that the interest that you're paying on a revenue property is tax deductible. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, but what numbers would you be looking at? Is it 20 times the revenue, 18 times the revenue? What would be realistic?
It depends. It depends on which area you're looking at. It depends on a few different factors, and it depends on what you're actually comfortable with, right? For me personally, I look at yields, right? So I look and I say, what is my down payment? What is the return that I'm getting? And each property is done individually. Going based on kind of like the old philosophy of 10 times and 20 times and 30 times and blah, blah, blah of the revenues of a property doesn't really work in this market anymore. Especially with real estate investors, that's not the way that I, as a real estate investor, do it. I will look at a property and I will say, okay, I'm putting a down payment of $100,000 when I'm buying this. At the end of the day, at the end of the year, I have a profit of, let's say, $10,000, right? Which means that my $100,000 has just yielded me 10%. That's the way that I look at it. Otherwise, if it's anything below, I have a magic number, which is in the 20s. My wife wants to kill me every time I say that number because she's like, you're absolutely insane. But my number is in the 20s. And if I don't find a property that meets that number, I don't buy it. It's just as simple as that. And some people think I'm cracked, but it works for me. And you know, including my wife, she thinks I'm cracked, and she's looking at me right now and shaking her head and going, "Yeah, he is."
Yeah,
but it works. Hope that answers.
Great. Thanks very much.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Brian. Let's head over to Mary Claire in Anjou with a question about repairs.
Hi, Mary Claire.
Thank you for taking my call. You know, I've inherited in a succession thing a property that needs a lot of repair.
Yep.
It's a duplex in Anjou.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I can't rent it.
Okay.
But I'm alone, and I'm 70 years old, and I don't really want to take my own money. I've never had a mortgage in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel what I need is to get a mortgage to do the repairs, and then I may choose to keep it and rent it, or I may simply sell it. But I have to do something with it, and it's going to cost money. But it's an investment. And I wonder, what would you advise? Is it difficult to get a mortgage? I've never had one.
It can and it can't. I mean, you're 70 years old. I'm assuming you're on pension?
I'm not geriatric, though. I'm really in good health.
Of course. Are you on a pension right now?
I don't have a big income. It's
Okay.
just under 30,000.
And do you live in the property?
Oh, no. Nobody could live in the property right now. I have an apartment. I live in a rental property.
Are you planning on moving into it if it's fixed up properly?
No, it's not a street. I don't care to live there. It's a nice place, but it doesn't, it's not suitable for what I like.
Okay, so there is options for you. I mean, definitely you need a cash infusion going into this property to basically get the property moving and get it renovated. It might have to come from alternative financing. It might have to come from privates. But we do, again, have options where you'll be able to borrow, $50,000, $100,000, whatever you need to kind of get this property up to snuff. And then based on that, you're able to go off, get it rented out properly, or sell it. Because the challenge is also, if you decide tomorrow, hey, you know what, I want to sell this property, well, you're selling the problems with it, which can end up having a boomerang effect back on you, either in reduction of costs or even lawsuits. I mean, I've seen, people where they inherit a property, then they sell it, and even though they're selling it without legal warranty, the person that buys it comes back to them and says, well, you knew about this, you sold it to me like this, and this is fraud, and I'm coming after you. So there is a certain amount of
I wouldn't do that, though.
Right. Okay.
I've already had an offer for as is, but it's a third of what it would be worth.
Exactly. So you're almost better off kind of getting it repaired. Again, give me a call at the office. I'll be, I'll be more than I'll be more than happy to sit down with you, and we can look at the numbers.
Thank you.
With pleasure.
Okay, thanks, Mary Claire. I just got a text from obviously my favorite of our listeners. I want to buy my first condo. I don't currently have a car, so I'd like to know if renting out my parking spot can count towards revenue. Thanks in advance. P.S. Chantal, you're the bomb.
Well, okay. So first of all, I have a feeling that that's actually you that
I just
texted that in.
that.
Okay. And if it's not, clearly
they have great
meant
taste.
to
How do you know
write.
it's a she? Maybe it's a dude.
Maybe it's a dude. Okay.
Don't know. We don't know. Doesn't
true.
matter either way. I'm the bomb.
Okay.
So what do you suggest? Can if she or he rents out their parking spot, can that count towards revenue?
It could. Again, it depends on the bank that you're looking at. The majority of the banks are not going to count it as revenues, but it could. So it all depends on if there's a lease and a whole bunch of other factors. There's literally, from off the top of my head, there's one bank that will actually accept that as revenues, but it's an option, definitely.
Hi, Terry. We owe $130,000 on our duplex. We plan to redo our kitchen and eventually the bathroom for an investment of about $40,000. We wonder if we should renovate or sell and finally buy a single-family house. Neither option seems ideal.
It's one of these things, right? I mean, I have these conversations with people all the time where they're kind of like, do we renovate our place and go off and buy something else, or do we stay where we are? Because, you kind of grow roots, right, in your house. So do we stay where we are, renovate it, bring it up to the level that we want it at, and stay here? It's a personal decision. I think that a lot of it has to go with what you're going to be able to qualify for in the future. I think a lot of times people are surprised, and that's one of the things that's happening in the real estate market now. And that's what me and Eleni talk about all the time on the real estate show, how because of the new stress test, people don't qualify for as much as they think they do when they're upgrading their house. So because they don't qualify for as much, it's actually more beneficial for them to just stay put where they are, do the renovations that they need to do, and then when the government, actually gets their head out of the sand and actually stops listening to bank lobbyists and changes back the mortgage rules. Okay, that's me going off on a rant again. Anyways, then at that point they can actually put it on the market, sell it, and move on to another property. But in many cases, renovating and staying put is actually cheaper and more effective than actually selling it and buying something else.
We're running out of time here, Terry. Do you want to get one more text in there?
Sure.
What about property sold by city for non-payment of taxes? Good deal for revenue property.
Yes, but you just have to remember one thing, that whoever you bought the property, so when you're buying, first of all, it's very rare that people actually successfully do that. And the previous owner has 1 year to be able to go in and buy it back from you at 10% premium. So, for example, if you, let's say, pay $10,000 in taxes, they would have to pay you $10,000 plus 4,000, right?
Yeah.
That's see, I'm telling you, my brain is like fried today. $14,000 back, and the majority of people don't usually let their properties foreclose for such a small amount.
Right. Terry Kalakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker. It's been a pleasure, Terry, as always.
Fun. Yeah.
Talking about being creative to get your real estate dream home. You can call Terry when he's not on the radio. He actually works for Northeast Realties and Mortgages.
And people, for some bizarre reason,
they call him and they go there. So you should too. 514-680-4674. And we will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody.
The opinions expressed in the preceding program were provided for general information purposes only and should not be construed as advice from CJAD 800 or Bell Media. Listeners should always consult their own real estate agent with questions or concerns. The proceeding was sponsored.
Outside?
No.
Just bought a house in Chateauguay at 3.44% interest rate. Did I get a good deal?
No.
Really?
I'm going to respond no.
Okay.
Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell all these people to...
Yeah, text them back and tell them to call you. Bye, everybody. Terry, say bye.
There's like a ton of text that we didn't get to on Facebook, as well as on the show. So what we're going to try and do is answer everyone's texts and comments and questions on our Facebook page and on YouTube.
Cool.
See you on the flip side.
Goodbye.